A day after 121 people were killed in a stampede in Uttar Pradesh's Hathras, there are questions being raised over the satsang that was organized by the self-styled guru Bhole Baba, aka Narayan Sarkar Hari, whose congregation the victims attended. Surajpal Singh, known to his followers as Bhole Baba, was born in Bahadur Nagri village in Uttar Pradesh's Eta district to a farmer. He joined the Uttar Pradesh police and was a head constable working with the intelligence unit for over 18 years, is what the man claims. However, his followers say that he also claimed that he worked for the Intelligence Bureau. In 1999, he took voluntary retirement from service. He changed his name to Narayan Sarkar Hari and began holding satsangs. He told his devotees that he felt an inclination towards spirituality and world peace, and he resigned to begin his spiritual journey. Now, as per a report, he claimed to live in a hut in his village and travelled across Uttar Pradesh to preach. Narayan Hari also enjoyed a large fan following in neighbouring states of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Now, there are a number of his songs and bhajans on online platforms that are available for his followers to listen to like and to share. Now, unlike most self-styled godmen, Narayan Hari is seen wearing a white suit and a tie or a simple kurta pajama, accompanied by his wife Prem Bati. He also claims he does not keep any money offered to him by his followers at the satsangs and distributes it amongst his followers. Even though this self-styled godman is known to keep his distance from media, he has been embroiled in several controversies. In 2022, he held a similar satsang in Farrukhabad in Uttar Pradesh, even as cases of COVID cases were on the rise during that time. While the district administration permitted only 50 people to attend the event, there were over 50,000 that reached the site to attend the event. The large crowd led to a significant traffic snarl in the region. Seeing the large crowds that turned up for his satsang, the godman has a security team which is called Narayani Sena that consists of men and women who guard and escort him from his ashram to the satsang locations and then back. Now that we have encapsulated the life and journey of this self-styled godman, Bhole Baba, let's discuss in detail about the sad state of affairs in our country and perhaps across the globe as well, over blind faith that has people thronging these satsangs, spending thousands of rupees and hoping for a miracle to happen. And these self-styled godmen are then put on a pedestal and are expected for miracles to take place in people's lives. Sumit Peer on the telecast with me. Sumit, unfortunate incident, but the focus now lies on this man who is absconding. He is nowhere to be found. The police at this point of time are holding inquiries, looking for this man. Manhunts have been launched. And taking a look at his history, a police constable turned godman.
You see, Megha ji, thank you for having me on your show. Whatever happened is very, very unfortunate. Sabse pehle to Om Shanti will pray for the departed souls. This could have been avoided. This should have not happened. And this also remembers, or we should call this also kind of puts a focus on the society, because unfortunately a part of our society is only looking for miracles, and anybody who can wear the disguise and who can convincingly talk and who can have a good orientation and can have good communication skills, the easiest thing to become nowadays is this fake godman. What we saw here, he was just looking for his interest. He got the people, assuming that they will be doing the dan dakshina or paying the money, whatever, as a part of the goodwill and all. But if you look at the arrangements, where were the arrangements? All the norms given by the district administration were violated. He keeps his security. He is very much concerned about security and well-being, but he is not concerned about the people who are coming there. We have seen 121, 122 people dead. Most of them are kids, they are women, and even a police wala. There's a young constable in the name of Mr. Yadav. He lost his life. He was 30 because when he saw the death and destruction, he got a heart attack and he kind of immediately passed out. This is what happens when people in the society start believing these miracles, look for these miracles, and the problem is also there. There is no check and control. There is nothing like this. Now, in such a case, this man should be booked for culpable homicide because it was his function. He did not arrange it. I'll tell you example. The people who own the Upar cinema, right, where we had fire incident, they are still in jail. Now, if they are still in jail and the owners of the picture hall, some people unfortunately lost their lives when a border was screened there. Now, how can this man run away from being culpable homicide? Because it is his event. The safety of the people was his responsibility. He was supposed to ensure this doesn't happen. When we look at that, there were no arrangements in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. So, no, but he would very well put the blame. If at all he's found again, if at all he's put behind bars, if at all he's investigated, he's going to say, listen, I did not organize the event. There were these organizers who took the money, they organized the event. I was there as a mere guest, giving summons to the people.
Ma'am, look, the problem is that, then Upar guys could have also said, hey, the manager was running the show. The hall manager was the person responsible for that. But the prima facie responsibility, the courts had put on those two brothers who are still in jail. I don't know are they out or not. They have been in jail for long years. You are the person on which the event revolves. The responsibility is yours. The people came to see you. The people came to meet you. You have to also ensure are there proper arrangements. At least there are workable arrangements. Even when we look at the media yesterday, the humidity was so much that people had to rush out for getting fresh air. You wanted to pack people like a herd of sheep so that you could get more money. Ultimately, why do you allow more and more people to come in? You want to spend minimum money and get maximum returns. Why you could not choose a very open ground, a fully ventilated place wherein all the entries and exits were there? At least you could not have such a situation. You choose a very small place where your cost of doing this so-called satsang was minimal and your returns were maximum. So this is a learning. Incidentally, Meghaji, a lot of these things happen in India. Even when we talk today, there must be one happening there. The learning is that we have to be very careful. They have to be set norms. And unless and until there's a culpable responsibility set on such people also, they will always run away. They will blame the last chaprasi or the last clerk. He did it all. Well, that is not the case. Then why are the owners of the Upar cinema, why are they in jail? Why are the people from Unitech in jail? They will also say, my manager did it. Manager will say, clerk did it. Clerk will say, chaprasi did it. Then he will say, the security guard, he was responsible. He sold too many tickets. Well, but that is not how the system works.
That is how not the system should not work. Gautam, unfortunately, the blame is then put on the smallest, the one who has the least responsibility, who gets the minimum amount of salary and does not have any devices in his hands to defend himself. Gautam Mukherjee, if you take a look at how the incident played out, this man who calls himself Bhole Baba, he held the sermon. There were two canopies that had been built. There was one where there were VIP devotees who were provided this region, this space to sit over there and listen to the satsang, and they had to pay extra money to then afford themselves that place. The other canopy was built where there were thousands, lakhs of people who could ill afford to get a space, get a place which was better, which was closer to this godman, to this man, and were just completely, squished together in that area. And what's appalling is, and this has been found in several of these Stampede cases, what has happened over there is that there was one exit door that was shut completely. The second exit door was only allowed by these, the security men for this godman to allow the man to step out, and only after that would the people who were inside the canopy were then allowed to let out. There were a number of requests that had been made by the people because it was hot, it was humid, it had also rained the last night, that they wanted to get out of that tent, that canopy, before the satsang completed. But the security guards refused to do that. So they held them hostage inside the canopy till the time the satsang completed. Then after that, this man steps out, and only after that these people were allowed to then move out of the tents. There has been several cases where these self-styled godmen have been accused of money laundering, have been accused of sexual cases, have been accused of sleight of hand. How do we deal with this situation on a larger scale?
Well, I think some amount of culpability has to be, taken by the district and administration authorities, because they permit such satsangs to be held and do not provide adequate personnel to monitor them and to take care of them. Now, you're saying that there were VIPs, and despite that, all that seems to be are the godman's security or the organizer's security. This is not the first time you've had a stampede in either a temple as people are leaving, or at a satsang, gatherings of this sort, because the ingress and exit are not properly demarcated. If you're going to keep one exit door closed and the other one fit for only the VIPs to leave first, then this sort of thing was waiting to happen. Where were the district authorities? How come a godman and his henchmen and the people who collect money for the organization are all in all, and 119 and counting people were killed, mainly women and children? So, if you're going to allow these things to be held, then, you have to ask, is there an administration, or is this the Wild West? Can people do as they please?
Right now the sub-divisional magistrate who had given the the approval for holding that event in that area just goes about saying that this was a gathering of 50,000 people that I had approved. Now, how is it my responsibility that 2.5 lakh people turned up?
Well, if you sit in an office and sign a file and say 50,000 people will be allowed and no more, without going into how this is going to be regulated, then you are being very theoretical, and you are certainly culpable of negligent behavior. But that's not all. What about his bosses? I mean, this is very, very slack, and I think Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath should make an example of all the people who are involved in organizing, the godman himself, the authorities who permitted it, the authorities who neglected to provide any kind of further supervision. Now, if this is going to happen in Uttar Pradesh, which is meant to be one of the best law and order places, it has been touted as such. It has won 2 elections on that basis. But why is it falling apart now?
Yeah.
Why is Yogi allowing this?
Okay. I also, I'm going to once again put the focus on this man, Bhole Baba, as he calls himself, and talking about, the godmen who fleece people because the people are somehow, convinced that this man is a self-appointed messenger of God, and he is going to cure them of all their problems and maladies. And Sumit, there have been situations in the past, and there can be varied examples that can be found. There have been cases of multiple sexual abuses that have been found with these godmen, and the kind of authority and the money that they accumulate make them more powerful, and they think themselves to be above the law. The law does catch up on them, but there are several godmen, there are controversies around them, there are cases against them, there have been allegations that have been put against them, but they have somehow been able to escape because of the power and position and the influence they have had in the country or whichever region that they live in. And I think the more powerful a godman, the more rich he becomes, the cases become more criminal. So over here, this is a godman who may not be known in larger circles, in richer circles of the society. But here you have poor people who've come down, maybe spent, I don't know, thousands of rupees traveling from Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan and some other parts of the country and attending this event. There is some amount of money that is pocketed by him, some amount that is pocketed by the organizers, but this pattern remains the same. Fleecing people, whether through sexual assault cases that appear or through the money that is extracted out of these individuals. Now, when you have 2.5 lakh people who've gathered, and if they even spend and offer the godmen maybe 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, that sums up to be a huge chunk. Yes. And that's his business. And if he does this satsang, I don't know, every 5 days or 10 days or 15 days in a month, he becomes a multimillionaire.
I think, Meghaji, you have hit the nail on the head. That is exactly the point I was trying to make. It is about making maximum money from it's an event. Let's not call it satsang or whatever. It's an event. I get maximum people, give them maximum benefits, even go to the extent of criminal negligence where I am compromising with their safety and their lives because I don't want to spend, let's say on average I'm getting 1,000 rupees, I don't want to spend more than 10 rupees on you. If I am willing to spend 50 rupees on you, this extent could have been avoided. Obviously to the district administration, they will say only 50,000 people are coming. If you know 2.5 lakh people are coming, how much does it cost to have a bigger tent, have proper ventilation, have fans and all? Nothing. But here the question is the intent. I don't want to spend more than 10 rupees on a person. That is my budget. That is where the problem comes. It's a case of criminal negligence. These people, every godman is rich in this country. Let us face it. They're all crorpatis. Nobody's a lakpati. Everybody's a crorpati. And Meghaji, the unfortunate part is when a disaster like this happens, then only you and me and the country wakes up. If there was no disaster like that, we would have not wake up. If you look at Asaram Bapu, if you look at Ram Rahim, if you look at Baba Rampal, if you look at everybody, till that time a big disaster happens, we as a country are letting things go away. We are letting them pass. We are not intervening in them. We are waiting for people to die. We are waiting for a catastrophe to happen. And it comes to a level where the catastrophe has happened. And we as a country and a society, no way can run away from this. Now today, 122 people are dead. Yogi ji is involved. Prime Minister Saab is involved. Home Minister is involved. DIG is involved. Home Secretary is involved. Whole media is involved. Now this has become a problem. Imagine if there would be only 2 or 3 people dead. It won't be even a news. Nobody will know even what happened. How many such things are happening where the people die? Even if you look at today, if you this year, if you look at the Hajj Yatra, around 1,500 to 2,000 Hajis passed away because of the immense heat. This happened this year. And it doesn't become a problem. But if something like this happens, there is a problem. If the number was 15 to 20,000, then the whole world media will be discussing about it. But it was 1,500 to 2,000, nobody is talking about it. Unfortunately, the problem is how many human deaths happen, what kind of a calamity happen, what kind of a disaster happen for us as collectively as a society, you, me, everybody, to wake up and say something is wrong. But the problem is with these godmen, why can't you set the rules? Bhai, today, if you have a banquet, there is a minimum specification of a banquet. If you want a gathering, there's a minimum specification of a gathering. We all know they make a lot of money. We say, okay, this is the minimum arrangements you have to do, and this is how it will be enforced. What is this VIP tent? What is this non-VIP tent? Who is manning entry and exit gates? Usually for such events, a fire clearance is required. Meghaji, imagine if there was a fire there. It would have been much more disastrous. We would have people, unfortunately, burned to death. And you will have people died in Stampede. Has it got the fire clearance? When you do a fire clearance, then you look at entry exits. Then you look at what is the way, if there's a fire, how the people will be evacuated. There are a lot of protocols which are put in place. But these people, because of the cloud and all, they're able to manage their way through. They're able to get through. And we as a country wait for a disaster to happen. And we will be waiting for next disaster to happen. Another disaster will happen. Then we'll find this godman. We'll talk about him. We'll put him in a jail. But unfortunately, can you bring back 122 people? And unfortunately, more might pass away, more might die. That is the reality of life. My heart was bleeding looking at the kids dead.
Yeah.
Itne bachche mar gaye, ma'am. What are we talking as a country?
Yeah, maximum number of them being women, you know.
Women and kids.
Seven children, perhaps 2 or 3 men. That's unfortunate. Gautam Mukherjee, you know, but the point, Sumita, when you talk about the VIP entries and VIP tickets being given, it's unfortunate that all religious places also have that, you know, trend. If you pay extra, you get into the queue where the number of people are lesser, and you get direct darshan of the God. So within few minutes, you'll be able to enter into the sanctum sanctorum and you pray and you go back. There are helicopter services. So again, Gautam, about how do we keep in check these activities that take place under the name of selling God? It is also about a person's faith in an individual. Can they really be reined in?
You're talking about, Sumit was talking about a fire. It happened in Haryana not so long ago. A similar gathering, the tent went up, the tent was highly inflammable. Now, I've been going to Uttarakhand for 20 years, near Nainital, and there is the Kanchi Dham, which is suddenly, once again, you know, I've wandered into the Kanchi Dham 5-6 times. There were 5 or 6 Mahants and hardly anybody and no problem. Now, and that was after, you had the Apple guy come there and find his inspiration, Steve Jobs. Now it's Virat Kohli and what have you, and the avatar of Hanumanji, and it is a riot. You can't go past that road towards Almora. It takes you 2 hours to pass Kanchi Dham. If you're lucky, on a good day at 11, that means Monday to Sunday. There is no off day. There is no special day, nothing. Last time I was there, it was the anniversary of the establishment of Kanchi Dham. Now, what I did notice, of course, I didn't go anywhere near it. I went the other way as far as I could whenever I wanted to have a supper. But there was, sirens going, police running up and down, roadblocks, billions of cars with exaggeration. And this was being regulated as much as possible by what appeared to be the entire police force of the area. So to that extent, if you pay a lot of attention, frenzy, I cannot stop this religious frenzy and where it comes from. And, bhakti is individual. People come. The hotels are doing great business because Kanchi Dham is the place. I even got a message while I was there for the anniversary being celebrated at a 5-star in Gurgaon of Kanchi Dham. So this is the kind of thing that is happening now. And, the only thing, if you're going to keep it safe, is to provide the kind of bandobast you provide to a high-level minister.
Yeah.
And keep that going right through any such event. If you're not going to do that, then disasters like this will happen again.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. All right. I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast and sharing your views on the subject. On that note, let's also take a look at some self-styled godmen of our country and, who've spread their wings across the globe. They have had these blind faith fan following and they've earned millions and millions. There have been controversial cases against them. And the question then arises is why is there a psychology of people to believe another individual who they hope and pray is going to give them what's missing in their life. It's not just about poor people, it's not just about the uneducated, it's also about the richest of the richest. So let's take a look at these histories, these men, profiling them, and what all did they do in their lives for gaining the notoriety that they did with the kind of heinous crimes that they committed. And let's try to understand what is the psychology behind it as well as I speak to my other panelists onto the discussion. All right, here's a look at some of the self-proclaimed godmen who have gained attention, who have millions of followers, and some of them were put behind bars. Thankfully, there are others who continue to be free men. Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, you must remember him because of the huge case that was filed against him. He is the Dera Sacha Sauda chief. He was charged by the CBI in a rape case. He was charged with sexually assaulting women followers, innumerable counts. We also have Asaram Bapu. He was in the news for mysterious death of 2 boys who were studying in his ashram Gurukul. There were mutilated bodies of these boys which were recovered from a riverbed near his ashram. Premanand. Now he was accused of raping 13 women. He was accused of killing a Sri Lankan national. Swami Nityanand, there was a video of him that surfaced in 2010 which showed that he was involved in several acts of sexual nature with a television actress. There were allegations that surfaced of him raping a follower at his ashram. In 2019, he fled India and there was a non-bailable warrant that was issued against him. There has nothing since then been found of this man or his whereabouts. The Satya Sai Baba, he claimed to be the reincarnation of Shirdi Sai Baba. He was accused of several cases of sexual abuse, money laundering, fraud and murder. So here's a look once again at these men who put themselves on a pedestal and then demand that the world also look at them as messengers of God, and end up raking money, getting away with crimes such as sexual assaults, rapes, killing, murders, simply because they can really do it.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.